Being a pitching coach in baseball is like being on the front lines of a silent war. The pressure never stops, the critiques never fade, and all you want is to see your pitchers break through the constant challenges the game throws at them. But what no one tells you is that, behind the stats and wins, the weight of the job is even heavier than it seems. Do you have any thoughts or experiences you'd like to share about the reality of being a pitching coach? Have you ever felt that pressure of turning talent into success? Let's discuss it in the comments. You didn't choose to be a pitching coach. The game chose for you. You knew the mechanics, the strategy, and the ins and outs of the mound. It started with your own career, a steady arm, a sharp curveball. You could read batters, locate pitches with precision, and dominate with velocity when the moment was right. But the game moves on, and soon enough, you're the one watching from the dugout. And that's when they hand you the clipboard, the headset, and say, "You're the one who can fix this." At first, it feels like a promotion. You've studied the greats. You know how to tweak a release point, adjust a grip, calm the nerves. You're the one everyone turns to for answers. You're the one who gets to shape the future of the pitchers. But here's the thing no one tells you when you step into that role. You are the one who gets blamed when it all falls apart. Being a pitching coach means watching pitchers struggle with their confidence, their mechanics, their consistency. You're the person they turn to when the ball doesn't move the way it should. When their fastball's flat or their slider hangs in the zone, it's on you to figure out how to fix it. You spend countless hours breaking down tape, dissecting every pitch, every movement. You study the stats, trying to find patterns, trying to find a way to make it click again. But here's the truth, not all problems have a solution. Sometimes, no matter how much you tweak, how much you coach, how many drills you put them through, the pitcher just can't find their rhythm. The game is a cruel teacher. A bad start turns into a bad stretch. A few bad innings turn into a bad season. And you're the one who gets to watch it happen in real time. When the mound isn't a place of power, but a place of fear, you feel it too. You can't throw the ball for them. You can't step in and fix what's broken. You're left with nothing but advice, encouragement, and the weight of their failures hanging on your shoulders. The toughest part? The players know it too. You're the one who has to take the heat when their performance isn't up to par. You're the one who has to deal with the frustration, the questions, the whispers in the locker room. What happened to his fastball? Why can't he get a strikeout? It's not about the batter anymore, it's about the pitcher, and when they fail, it feels like your failure. You can tell them to focus, to breathe, to trust their stuff, but when they walk 5 batters in a row, all your words fall flat. And it's not just the pitchers, it's the managers, the fans, and the media. Everyone wants answers. The manager wants more strikeouts, fewer walks. The fans want the ace to stay dominant, the setup guy to come in and close out the game with ease. The media scrutinizes every pitch, every change. When it goes wrong, it's a reflection on you. No one cares about the hours you spend working on a pitcher's mental game. No one sees the time you dedicate to breaking down their mechanics or the hours spent helping them regain their confidence. The toughest part? The players know it too. You're the one who has to take the heat when their performance isn't up to par. You're the one who has to deal with the frustration, the questions, the whispers in the locker room. What happened to his fastball? Why can't he get a strikeout? It's not about the batter anymore, it's about the pitcher, and when they fail, it feels like your failure. You can tell them to focus, to breathe, to trust their stuff, but when they walk 5 batters in a row, all your words fall flat. And it's not just the pitchers, it's the managers, the fans, and the media. Everyone wants answers. The manager wants more strikeouts, fewer walks. The fans want the ace to stay dominant, the setup guy to come in and close out the game with ease. The media scrutinizes every pitch, every change. When it goes wrong, it's a reflection on you. No one cares about the hours you spend working on a pitcher's mental game. No one sees the time you dedicate to breaking down their mechanics or the hours spent helping them regain their confidence. They only see the blown lead, the high ERA, the wasted opportunities. And the pressure never stops. Every time a pitcher steps onto that mound, you're there in the back of their mind. Can you fix this? Can you give them that little piece of advice that'll turn the game around? You want to believe in them. You want to feel the rush when their slider finally breaks, just like you've taught them. When they strike out the side after you've spent hours working with them on their fastball command. But for every success, there are 10 failures. And those failures don't fade away. They linger, haunting you, because it's your job to turn them around. And then there's the burnout. You're constantly on edge, constantly evaluating, constantly looking for the next adjustment. You're up late studying video, looking at pitching mechanics, searching for any clue that'll turn things around. You've got 1,000 different pitching styles to understand, 100 different personalities to manage. Every pitcher is different, every situation unique, and you're supposed to have the answers. But sometimes, no matter how hard you try, there are no easy fixes. When the bullpen phone rings and you see your pitcher warming up, there's a weight on your chest. You know exactly what's coming, the pressure of the game, the weight of expectations, the responsibility that falls on your shoulders. You've spent years in this game, watching pitchers struggle, watching them rise and fall. And when the lights are brightest, when the game is on the line, it's your call. But here's the thing they don't tell you. Sometimes it's not just about the stats. It's about how you get your guys to believe in themselves again. It's about giving them the confidence to get back on that mound after every failure, to pick up their head when they've been knocked down. It's about knowing when to push, when to pull back, and when to just let them pitch. Because in the end, that's all you can do. Be the voice in their ear, the calm in the storm. And when they finally break through, when they get that strikeout or make that perfect pitch, there's nothing like it. You get to watch your pitcher soar, knowing you were part of that journey. But in the dark times, when things aren't working, when the losses pile up, when the critics are circling, you can't help but feel the weight of it all. Because as a pitching coach, you don't just teach pitches. You teach resilience. You teach how to deal with failure. And most importantly, you learn that success isn't always measured by a win or loss, but by how you keep your pitchers in the game, fighting for the next strike, the next inning, the next opportunity. You think you've figured it out. You've been around long enough, seen enough pitchers rise and fall, that you start to believe you can handle anything the game throws your way. The late nights spent analyzing mechanics, the morning bullpen sessions, the countless hours spent on drills, this is your life now. You know the numbers, you know the mental side of the game, and you know exactly what each pitcher needs to get that extra edge. But here's the thing, the more you know, the more the pressure builds. You start to realize that all the hours you put in don't guarantee anything. A pitcher can have the perfect mechanics, the right mindset, and still fall short on game day. You can guide them all you want, but sometimes they just can't execute. A fastball that hangs, a curveball that breaks too early, suddenly your ace looks like an average Joe, and you're left holding the bag.
You hear the murmurs in the dugout, the murmurs from the bullpen. He's not the same. What happened to his command? This isn't the guy we saw in spring training. You want to tell them that it's not just a bad stretch, that it's the game, and that every pitcher goes through it. But you know what the problem is. It's the expectation. It's the weight of being the one who's supposed to have all the answers. The pressure to fix things that feel broken, to give hope when it's hard to see the light. Every pitch they throw, every inning they struggle, it's your job to find a way to make it right. And when you can't, you start to wonder if you've lost your touch. And then there's the constant juggling act. You've got a roster full of pitchers, each with their own quirks, strengths, and weaknesses. Some are hard-throwing power arms, others rely on finesse and movement. Some pitchers are mentally tough, while others are one bad inning away from crumbling. As a pitching coach, you're not just teaching pitches, you're managing personalities. You're balancing egos, working to keep confidence high, while also trying to temper the natural frustration that comes when things aren't going right. When a pitcher loses it, it's not just their game you're worrying about. It's your job that's on the line too. Every bad start, every hit batter, every walk, it feels like it's your fault. Your pitchers are constantly under the microscope, but you're under even more pressure because you're the one guiding them. You feel the weight of every failure, every bad outing. You're the one who stays up late, breaking down every pitch, analyzing every angle, trying to figure out what went wrong. And when you can't pinpoint it, when there's no immediate fix, you're left staring at the stats, wondering if you're failing them. The worst part? It's the fear of losing control. You can preach technique all you want, but at the end of the day, you're not the one throwing the ball. You can't control the outcome. You can only hope that what you've worked on in practice translates to the game. The moment the pitcher steps onto the mound, it's out of your hands. And if they fail, well, the blame falls right back on you. The fans, the media, even the manager, they don't care about your coaching philosophy. They want results, and they want them now. You're not just dealing with physical skills, but mental games too. You've got to get your pitchers in the right headspace, and that's not always as easy as it sounds. You have to learn when to be a mentor, when to be a motivator, and when to just shut up and let them figure it out on their own. The balance is fine. Too much advice and you're overwhelming them. Too little and you're abandoning them. And let's not forget the emotional toll. When a pitcher struggles, it's personal. You've spent hours helping them develop, hours working on their weaknesses, hours building their trust. You see their potential. You know what they're capable of. And when they don't deliver, it feels like a punch to the gut. You can tell them all day long that it's just one game, just one bad stretch. But deep down, you know they feel it, and you feel it too. Every time you walk into that bullpen, you're holding your breath. Will today be the day everything clicks? Will they find their groove, or will they fall apart again? The constant uncertainty starts to weigh on you. It's hard to stay optimistic when the results aren't coming. But you have to. You have to keep believing in them, even when you feel like they've lost belief in themselves.
And when the results finally do come, it feels like a fleeting moment of success, quickly overshadowed by the next challenge. It's the nature of the job. No matter how well your pitchers perform, it's never enough to take the pressure off. You're always looking ahead, always worrying about the next outing, the next adjustment. And in the back of your mind, you know that as quickly as they rise, they can fall. But that's the life of a pitching coach. It's not about the glory, the headlines, or the accolades. It's about the grind. It's about getting up every day, facing the pressure, and doing everything you can to make your pitchers better. You might never get the recognition, you might never get the credit when they succeed. But when they find their rhythm, when they hit their stride, it feels like your success too. Because in the end, that's what keeps you going. Not the stats or the wins, but the moments when you know you helped a pitcher reach their potential. That's why it sucks to be a baseball pitching coach. You're not just coaching pitches, you're coaching resilience, you're coaching hope, and most of all, you're coaching through the failures, because sometimes that's the hardest part of the job. You think you've seen it all by now. You've worked with pitchers from every background, young studs with electric stuff, veterans trying to hold on to the magic, pitchers with fragile confidence, and those who've never had to worry about their stuff but always worry about their head. Each one is a puzzle, a challenge, and your job is to put the pieces together. You've read every book on pitching, you've spent hours with former pros breaking down the finer details, and you've learned how to communicate with each pitcher in the way they need. But no matter how much you know, the game will always remind you that you're not in control. The reality? You're constantly walking a tightrope. You have to keep your pitchers confident but not cocky, sharp but not overthinking, You have to balance that fine line between giving them the freedom to express their style while still making sure they stick to the fundamentals. One wrong move, one small tweak you didn't think through, and everything could come crashing down. You see their struggles on the mound, the self-doubt creeping in after a few bad outings, and you feel the weight on your own shoulders. And it's not just about their performances anymore, it's about your job too. When a pitcher goes out and gets shelled, the heat comes to you. Your phone lights up with messages from the manager, the front office, and even the scouts. What's going on? Why isn't he pitching well? What's the plan? You get 1,000 questions, and you have only one answer. I'm trying everything. But those words never seem to be enough. You know there's more behind the scenes, more you're working on to help them, but no one else sees it. All they see is the bottom line, wins and losses. And the hardest part? You know how quickly it can all unravel. You know how easy it is for a pitcher to lose his rhythm, his confidence, and his job. You've seen it happen too many times to other coaches, to other teams. A pitcher can go from Cy Young contender to a liability in a matter of months. The game doesn't care about your effort or how much you've tried to help. The results are all that matter. But then there's the other side of it, the moments when you do get it right, when you make that one small adjustment that changes everything for a pitcher. The way they suddenly start hitting their spots again, the way their breaking ball has that extra bite, the way their body language shifts from defeat to determination, those moments are what keep you going. But they're few and far between. For every success, there are 10 failures, and those failures feel 10 times heavier. Even on those rare occasions when everything clicks, when the pitcher is unhittable, when you see them working like a well-oiled machine, you can't help but feel the anxiety building. How long will it last? Is it just a fluke? You know better than anyone that a few bad outings can undo all that progress. You know that even the most talented pitchers can lose it all in the blink of an eye. And that's the part that never goes away. The constant feeling that one mistake, one wrong move, could cost you everything. And then there's the outside noise. Fans always have an opinion. You hear it all the time. Why don't they just throw more sliders? He's got the stuff, just needs to focus. It's the same story everywhere, whether you're in the big leagues or at the local high school game. People who have never thrown a single pitch in their lives think they have the answers, but they don't see the hours you put in, the discussions you have with your pitchers, the late nights spent trying to figure out how to break through. They don't see the pressure you're under to turn things around. What they don't see is the mental toll it takes. You spend so much time focusing on the mechanics, the drills, the game plans, that you start to forget about your own mental state. You're so focused on helping your pitchers stay sharp, stay positive, stay focused, that you start to forget about your own stress. You know every pitcher needs something different, but you also know that sometimes, despite all your effort, it just doesn't click, and that gnaws at you. You start doubting yourself. Are you good enough? Are you doing everything you can? And you see it on their faces. The pitchers you've worked with, the ones you've invested so much time into. They trust you, they listen to you, but you can see the frustration creeping in. They know they can't get back to where they were, and you can see it in their eyes. You know that some of them will never reach their full potential, and that hurts. It stings because you know what could have been. You could have been the one to help them get there, but baseball is cruel like that. Sometimes, all the coaching in the world can't fix what's wrong. But still, you keep going. You show up every day. You do the drills. You make the adjustments. You listen. You guide. You put in the work. You remind them to trust their stuff. You remind them that they've been here before and they can do it again. And when they finally succeed, when they finally get that feeling back, it feels like a small victory for you too. Because even though you're not the one throwing the pitches, you know you were there every step of the way, helping them get back on track. In the end, that's what makes it worth it. Not the wins or losses, not the stats or the accolades, but the moments when you know you've helped a pitcher regain what they lost. Because being a pitching coach isn't just about helping players get better, it's about helping them through the tough times, the slumps, the doubts. It's about finding the strength to keep pushing forward, even when the game is working against you. That's why it sucks to be a baseball pitching coach. The work is never done. The pressure is never off.
And the game will always remind you that control is an illusion. But when you help a pitcher get back to their best, even for a moment, it feels like everything you've worked for was worth it. The truth is, at the end of the day, being a pitching coach is about more than just wins and losses. It's about being there for your pitcher when things aren't clicking, and still fighting for that breakthrough that only comes in the toughest moments. Sometimes the biggest lessons come from the failures, and the impact of a coach often goes far beyond what the numbers show. Let's keep the conversation going. Drop your thoughts in the comments.